Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning, Kristin Hildabrand, Warren County Extension Agent for Horticulture, joins us to talk a little bit more about what you can put in your garden journal that would be helpful for the rest of the season. Good
Yes.
morning, Kristin.
Good morning, Joanna.
Well, tell us a little bit. We've talked about putting varieties, a budget, but there are other things that we can put in this garden journal.
So one of the things that I feel like is really, really helpful if you can make the time is to start planning and really thinking about your garden layout. So if you think about certain plants that you're including around your home or landscape, that would help reflect off of that. So say if you're planting, something that's a fruiting crop, it's going to take a lot of sun, it's going to need well-drained soil. There's just certain things with that plant versus a home vegetable garden type plant that's going to need obviously well-drained soil. And if it produces any kind of fruit, it again needs full sun. But if it's more of a, leafy type green, it can take a little bit less. So if you can think about those things in relationship to your garden plot, and a lot of people have different kind of garden plots. They may have a conventional garden space where they're using a larger piece of land, or some people that are in town might have a raised bed, or even, with some people, they might have more container gardens just all throughout or around their house as well. So if you can kind of think about earmarking where those plants are going to be situated, then that's going to be really helpful for you to actually plan out the season. And that way, when you plan it out on paper first in a graph form, then you won't have to move it around from spot to spot. So it's really good and really beneficial for the home gardener to do that ahead of time. So whenever you're thinking about those plans, really think about the crop that you're growing. Again, here in Kentucky, we have 3 different gardening seasons. So there may be cool season crops that are going to work good for the spring and the fall gardening season, or warm season crops that like those warmer air temperatures here in Kentucky that are going to handle the summer gardening season a lot better. So even if you want to schedule that all throughout the season according to what varieties that you have, you're actually going to know the days to harvest, and you can plan it out using a calendar, or if you just prefer it as a handwritten form, that would be beneficial as well. But that really planning right now is very important.
And I think people with smaller spaces, if you don't have access to a lot of land, this is super important because you can really nail down that succession planning if you have a good plan to start out with. And I think writing that down helps. It also helps with memory. A lot of times I'll remember exactly what I planted where in my garden, but most time that's not the case. So if I don't have it written down, it's hard for me the next year to know where to plant my crops.
Yes, and a good useful guide that we have at the extension office is the home vegetable gardening guide. It's got a lot of different planting dates that you can reference if you're a new time gardener, or say if you just want to improve and hone in on your gardening skills, that would be a great resource for people to pick up. So I highly encourage for people to do that. Other things to include in that garden journal is a crop rotation plan, because if certain plants are in the same family, there's going to be a built up of different insects and diseases if you're planting in that same spot year after year after year. So if you can kind of, even if it's a rough sketch, Joanna, that really, really helps okay, I had that in that particular spot this year, so I need to make sure I rotate to a separate piece of my garden plot for this year. And things like that can be really beneficial. Along with that, if you can put it on a graph type layout, then you can also use pictures. I think pictures really do say 1,000 words. So if you can take pictures throughout your gardening season, maybe at its infancy, whenever it's just begin to be planted, and then throughout the course of the season, that would also be beneficial as well. So things like that are really important to keep in a garden journal. And then lastly, really, we always want to look forward to the future, and there's things that we can really get inspired from. I know myself, I like to look through magazines and get inspiration that way. So if there's something that you really like about something that you've seen, whether it be visually or even digitally, take that, print that off, include that in your garden journal, and then that way you can make it happen for the next year.
Yeah, it kind of keeps you inspired, but reminded about maybe what variety, or maybe you forget that you really wanted to have an indoor garden, and but putting that in there keeps you reminded of that. So, Kristen, certainly appreciate the information. And if you have questions, make sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for watching and have a great day.